Hey guys, good morning. It's Thursday and today we are preparing for the workshop at AvioDrome tomorrow. What is AvioDrome? AvioDrome is close to Lelystad and it's actually a kind of museum for airplanes. So you will see Boeings and older airplanes, radio towers, and we can all shoot there. So it's going to be an awesome workshop. We have Nadine as our model, so that means amazing styling and of course a great model. So we're going to take you behind the closed doors tomorrow at the workshop. But today we have to prepare, so we have to select all the gear, we have to test some stuff, and I have to prepare a POS map. Now what is a POS map? A POS map is actually something online where I put the best of my images in. So if a manufacturer needs an image, they can actually select it from the POS folder. And I do want to give you a little tip about that, so I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to tell you how we create something like that. Okay, so here I'm just in a regular folder like retouched images, studio, and as you can see we shoot a lot of images, and this is only during 1 year, and this is actually only the images I retouched, so my selection of images. Now you can imagine when somebody says, hey Frank, can you please send me some images that you really like? It's absolutely horrendous to go through all the images through all the years, and you see a lot of stuff that's actually commercial work, like the miss selections here. So I have to go through all these images and then maybe find one that I really like. So that's not really handy. Now Lightroom has a really great option, and the option you can actually see here. Now let me zoom in. As you can see here, photo has keywords, and some of these images do, as you can see here. Now, which keyword do they have? I always give the images I really like the keyword slideshow FD. Or in other words, these are the images I love, let's create a slideshow. And in Lightroom you can actually create a smart album. And that's what we did over here. So let's go here. And here we have a smart album containing all the slideshow FD images. So when I click here, I immediately see all the images that I like. So now it's way easier for me to select very quickly some images that I like and send them to our manufacturers who need them or our clients. The other cool thing about it is because I always put these on Dropbox, when I'm on the road I can actually also deliver my clients high resolution images. In the past that was not possible because we didn't use stuff like Dropbox, and I always had to tell my client, well, I'm home in about 1 or 2 weeks, I will send you the images then. And well, sometimes they didn't want to wait. So we solved it by using Dropbox. So I have to select the images now, upload them to the POS folder because we renew them every month. And then I'm going to do something else. And I'm going to show you that of course too. Hey guys, one of the things that a lot of people ask me with Wacom tablets is how should I put my tablet? Now this of course is a Cintiq, and you have to realize that there's eye and hand coordination when you use a normal Wacom tablet like an Intuos. So with the Cintiq it's very easy. You just place it like this and you can draw, right? So you're looking on the screen. Now if you have an Intuos, there's a slight difference because then you use a monitor and you actually have an Intuos. So how do you place them? You see on a lot of videos you actually see the keyboard and the Intuos there, so you're actually drawing like this. In my opinion that's the wrong way, because and now you can try this at home, just try to do this and you will feel a lot of strain on your arm. And it's very difficult of course to have eye-hand coordination when you do something like this and the screen is over there. The reason a lot of people do this is because they also use shortcuts. Now you can actually program your Intuos with all the shortcuts, but let's not go into that now. What I advise people to do is just push your keyboard up and place the Intuos exactly the same as I have my Cintiq here. So you're actually drawing like this. Now you will feel that there's no strain here and you can easily draw. The nice thing is, as soon as you do this and you will put the Intuos back in the old position, you will find that you start drifting, which actually means that this is the way more natural way to draw. So that's a small tip in behind the closed doors. Now normally of course we film the tip way more professional, but you guys asked me to do a little bit more tips in these episodes, so there you go. Okay, so today I actually had like an hour free for some doodling. And what is doodling? Well, I love to draw, and I have to be totally honest with you guys. When I was younger I drew a lot, mostly cartoon figures and comics and that kind of stuff. But somehow when I got older I didn't have the time for it anymore, and I also have to be totally clear that somehow I love the way that paper feels, but I never got that same feeling with digital stuff. So I always felt that my eye-hand coordination didn't work, and there was a certain lag on the screen. So I never got into drawing anymore. Now that changed when I got the iPad Pro. I immediately ordered it when I saw the Apple Pencil and I saw how quick it actually drew and how fast it responded. I was going like, this is it, now I'm going to start drawing again. And I did. As soon as I got the Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro, I started drawing again. Now I'm not an artist in the form of I can't draw. Let's just put it that way. I need an example in front of me, but I just love it. It's very calming effect on you, and you really can zone out and just start drawing those lines and coloring. I absolutely love it. Now, the iPad Pro was okay, but it was still a little bit of a slippery surface, and overall, great. Then I got into contact with the Wacom Cintiq, and that's where everything changed. Absolutely felt the love of the more tactical feel, so it feels more like you're drawing on a surface that has a little bit more of a, what do you call it, a bite, so you really feel that the pen is doing something. And I actually started using also Manga Studio. Now I love Adobe Photoshop, don't get me wrong, it's a great program, but for drawing I need a little bit of stabilization in my pen. So that's where Manga Studio comes in. I want to show you something that I just drew, and I also want to show you how I build it up. And this is in no way the way that a professional should do it, but I just wanted to share with you guys how I do it. Okay, so here we have Manga Studio, and the first layer I actually did was a sketch, as you can see here. And you probably recognize this guy, and he's actually smiling today. And then I lowered the opacity of this to actually start drawing my lines. Drawing my lines. So this looks a little bit better, and then I started filling it with blue for the shadows, for the highlights. And then I did something that a lot of professionals probably don't do, and I need this a lot. I started making my lines better, as you can see here. Then we started adding some whites, skin tone. And again, because I'm not a professional drawer and I just do it for fun, I need to make my lines even better, as you can see here. And I do this with also the color, and that's actually in the same layer. So if I put all the layers off, and I only put that layer on, you can see that I actually corrected myself with black, with white, and also with the blues, as you can see here. So the only reason that layer is there is just to enhance my drawing. There we go. And finally, of course, my signature. And of course, when you save it, make sure that you take away your sketch. So that's a very quick how I drew my Batman figure. And now it's time to check everything for tomorrow's workshop at AvioDrome. Oh, and one more thing about the drawing stuff. A lot of people ask me like, what do you do with your keyboard? Do you still use it? Well, yes, of course, I have to name my files, and some shortcuts are still in the keyboard. And of course I try to do all of them in the AK remote, but sometimes you just have something where you do need your keyboard. And because on the desk there's no more room for the keyboard, we actually found something else that's really cool. You know that we love Tethertools and their products. Now there's also something called a Tethertable, which is really small. And that's actually what I'm using here. So I mounted the Tethertable, and we got the smallest one, and we actually mounted it on a stand. And now it's next to me on my desk. So when I pull down the Cintiq, I can actually still control my keyboard like this. So that's a tip for you guys if you need your keyboard somewhere and you need, for example, to also change it in height, because it's on a stand. We can actually change it in height, and there's this anti-slip mat on it, so it won't move. So it's a really cool solution. Oh, and by the way, we connected it with the clamp, of course, from Tethertools. So it's not the cheapest solution, but it absolutely works. And you know, sometimes you just have to do it right at once, because you will try a lot of different options and they just don't work, and in the end you'll end up with this anyway. Let's see what we're gonna bring for tomorrow. This is our Tethertools table with, of course, a stand. Here we have some lighting stands and two cases. I'm gonna tell you what's inside. We have two Rangers with us with two A heads. A Quadra with the HS head, meaning we can do some high-speed syncs. Of course, some gels. to give some color. The reflector with grids. Our camera nu bag, which actually contains some cables. The maxi light. Beauty dish with a grid. The deflector to create some different lighting effects. And an umbrella if we really need some softer lighting. Now the cool thing is, when you take this stuff, it's not a lot. And still we can make some pretty cool different setups. For example, with the maxi light you can get a lot of power and a focus beam on the model. And of course with the beauty dish you can create some really narrow beam of light on your model when you use the grid. But when you use the deflector you can actually use some softer light with still a lot of pop. And the umbrella, well, that's the one that gives you really soft light everywhere. So you're actually covering a lot of bases with just minimum gear. And you don't have to drag it around all the time. So you can bring big softboxes on location, but in essence this will do just fine. Now the camera wise, I'm gonna bring the Sigma 12-24, which I absolutely love for those extreme wide angles. The X-Rite color checker, of course, the light meter. Okay, camera wise, I'm using this combination, the Sony A7RII. And tomorrow we're actually gonna shoot wireless, because you can bring your laptop and cables, but sometimes it's just easier on location to shoot wireless. Now inside the Sony there's actually an app called Smart Remote. You can access that pretty easily by going to menu and then go into the apps, application list, and there you have Smart Remote. Now when I connect this, I can actually shoot tethered wirelessly. It will shoot normal RAWs on the card and it will send very small JPEGs, 2 megapixels, to your iPad, iPhone. So that goes really fast and the range is pretty good. The problem is, on all the Sonys you still have use of your EVF, meaning you can shoot like this. On the A7R II something really weird happens. As soon as I start this, I don't have an iPad or iPhone connected at the moment, sorry guys. But as soon as I start this, normally you would have your EVF. So as soon as you see the back of the display, it's like this. And as soon as you come closer, it will switch to the EVF. And again, on all Sonys that works, except on the A7R II. So how did we solve this? Well, as you can see, I have a frame mounted on the LCD, as you can see here. And that has a reason, because what you see here is actually a loop. So what we do when we shoot wireless is actually we take the loop and we connect it to the back of the camera. It's a little bit difficult with one hand. And now I can actually use the loop as a sort of EVF. It's not perfect. It looks a little bit like a Frankenstein camera, but it does work. So that's what we're going to use tomorrow. And of course we're going to show you how we do it. And then we're going to take you behind the closed doors, of course, tomorrow too. And the nice thing is we're using an iPad Pro, so we have a pretty big iPad with us. So people can actually see the images coming in really fast on high brightness. And it's a really cool learning tool. And we don't have to drag the laptop everywhere in cables. So great solution. I just wish the EVF would stay working during your remote control. But hey, let's hope they solve that in the next version of the software. Now on Saturday we have a special Halloween workshop and look what we got in. I don't know if we're going to use them. We actually bought them for something else, but who knows. Maybe you can see some heads moving around during the workshop. You never know.